The galaxy was watching. Billions of eyes across hundreds of worlds stared at their screens as the mighty Vaughn Empire prepared for war. The Vaughns were tall, armored, and cruel, a race that believed power belonged only to those who were born strong. Their fleets were enormous. Each battleship was the size of a city. Their weapons could destroy moons. They had never lost a war, and now they were going to crush a small human colony on the edge of the galaxy, Eden 7. The Vaughns expected an easy victory. They had laughed when they saw the human defenses. A few small ships floated near the planet, forming what looked like a weak, broken line. The alien commander, General Korvac, stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the screen in disbelief. "That's it?" he growled. "That's their fleet?" His officers laughed loudly. "Yes, General. That is the entire human defense force. Look at those ships, so tiny, like children's toys." Korvac smirked. "They call that a fleet? Even our drones are bigger." The Vaughns didn't know it yet, but what they were seeing was not weakness. It was the calm before something they had never faced. As the Vaughn fleet drew closer to Eden 7, they opened a live broadcast to the entire Empire. They wanted everyone to witness the humiliation of humanity. Korvac spread his arms wide, speaking proudly into the camera. "Today, the Vaughn Empire will remove another stain from the galaxy. Watch as our glorious fleet erases this human colony from existence." The crowd across the galaxy cheered. The signal reached thousands of planets, from mining worlds to pleasure stations. Everyone waited for the same thing, the easy destruction of humanity's tiny army. But in the command center of Eden 7, a quiet voice broke the silence. "Sir, the Vaughn fleet is entering attack range." The human commander nodded slowly. He was old, tired, and calm, Admiral Hayes. He looked at the small ships floating in space and smiled faintly. "Project Atom," he whispered. "Time to wake them up." A technician turned a key on the control board. A low hum filled the air. Across the battlefield, the small ships lit up, glowing blue and white. Their engines came alive like fireflies in the dark. On the Vaughn flagship, the laughter continued. "They're turning on their toy ships," one alien joked. "Maybe they think light will scare us." Another added, but then the laughter stopped. The small ships began to move. Not like ordinary ships, not in formation, not with delay, but fast, too fast for sensors to follow. They twisted and turned like living things, leaving glowing trails of light behind them. The radar officer on the Vaughn bridge blinked, confused. "General, I can't lock onto them." "What do you mean you can't?" "They're moving at impossible speeds. I can't get a read on their heat, their mass, nothing." Korvac leaned forward, his grin fading. "Show me visuals." The screen zoomed in on one of the tiny ships. For a second, they saw something through the glass window, a human face. Korvac froze. "Wait, are there pilots inside those things?" The radar officer's voice shook. "Yes, General. There are life signs. They're human." The command bridge went silent. Korvac stared at the screen again. The humans weren't using drones. They were flying those tiny ships themselves. He couldn't believe it. They put humans inside those machines, but how? "The ships are too small. There's no room for air systems, no control space." Then his eyes widened. "Unless they've merged with the ships," he whispered. "They've become part of them." The room fell completely silent. Outside, the mini-fleet formed a strange pattern, a spiral made of light. Then, without warning, they vanished from sight. "Where did they go?" shouted one of the officers. Before anyone could answer, a huge explosion shook the Vaughn flagship. A second later, another blast hit their right flank. 2 battleships vanished in flames. Korvac roared, "What happened?" The radar officer screamed, "They're attacking us!" From all sides! In the chaos, the humans' communication network remained calm. Inside her cockpit, Captain Aria Blake, the leader of the mini-fleet, focused on her display. Her body was connected directly to the ship's systems. Every move she made felt like her own heartbeat. "This is Aria," she said quietly. "Target the left flank. Hit their weapon cores." Her voice was calm but fierce. The human pilots moved like lightning, each ship weaving between enemy fire. The aliens tried to hit them but failed. The ships were too fast, too small, too unpredictable. One by one, massive alien ships began to fall. Korvac watched in horror. "How are they doing this?" A terrified officer replied, They're not fighting like machines, General. They're fighting like humans." Korvac slammed his clawed fist into the console. "Then destroy them!" But deep inside, even he knew something had changed. The Vaughn Empire had mocked the humans. They had called them weak. Now they were realizing the truth. The tiny fleet wasn't a joke. It was a warning, and humanity was far from finished. The Vaughn Empire was in shock. Their mighty warships, built with the best alien technology in the galaxy, had been destroyed by something small, silent, and human. No one in the Empire could understand how it happened. But far away from the battle, on a quiet moon near Saturn, the truth had been waiting for years. Deep under a frozen base known only as Lunar Station 9, a secret project had begun long before the war. Its name was Project Atom, humanity's final hope. The hallways were dark and cold. Machines hummed softly in the background. Only a few people knew what was being created here. They called themselves the Architects, a group of scientists, pilots, and engineers who believed size didn't decide strength. Art did. At the center of the base stood a giant glass chamber filled with blue light. Inside floated a small ship, sleek, silver, and no bigger than a fighter jet. Cables ran from it like veins. The light pulsed with every heartbeat. It wasn't just a ship. It was alive. Dr. Evelyn Cross, head scientist of the project, stood beside the glass chamber. Her face was pale, her eyes tired but bright with purpose. For 10 years, she had worked in secret, following a dream that most said was impossible, to merge man and machine. Behind her, a young pilot watched in silence. Her name was Aria Blake, only 25, but already known as one of Earth's best test pilots. She had lost her brother in the first alien invasion, and she never forgot his last words. "Don't fight them with fear. Fight them with what makes us human." Evelyn looked at Aria and spoke softly. "Are you sure you're ready for this? Once the bond begins, there's no turning back." Aria nodded. "If this works, it will save us all." The scientists began the final connection sequence. The glass chamber filled with white mist. Wires attached to Aria's body glowed with soft light. She stepped forward and placed her hands on the metal surface of the ship. Instantly, her heartbeat synced with the machine. Every pulse she felt inside her chest echoed through the ship's frame. The monitors flashed. The ship's lights brightened. Dr. Evelyn whispered, "She's connecting." Aria closed her eyes. She could hear the hum of engines like her own breath. She wasn't just inside the ship, she was part of it. "I can feel it," she said in awe. It's alive. It's reacting to you," Evelyn replied. "It's not a machine anymore. It's an extension of your soul." For the first time in history, a human and a ship had become one. The nano-link system worked. Over the next few months, more pilots joined the program, 12 in total. Each went through painful training, connecting their minds and bodies to the small crafts. They learned how to think faster, move quicker, and fight with precision no AI could match. They called themselves the mini-fleet, not because of their size, but because they were underestimated by everyone. Aria quickly became the leader. Her calm voice and brave heart kept the team together through endless tests and sleepless nights. One evening, as the group sat together in the training bay, Aria spoke quietly. "We're not just pilots anymore," she said. "We're the last wall between Earth and extinction." One of the younger pilots, Eli, laughed nervously. "You make it sound heroic," Aria smiled. "It has to be. Otherwise, all of this means nothing." They didn't know it yet, but soon they would be called into battle sooner than anyone expected. When the Vaughn Empire declared war, humanity had almost no defense left. The larger fleets were destroyed within weeks. Earth's colonies were falling one by one. That's when Project Atom received its final order: defend Eden 7. Aria and her team were sent to the colony without any backup. To the Vaughns, they looked like toys, small, fragile, weak. But the pilots knew their strength didn't come from armor or size. It came from the human will. Before the launch, Dr. Evelyn gave her final message to the team. They will laugh at you. They will mock your size, your speed, your design. But remember, laughter is the sound of fear trying to hide itself. Make them remember humanity. Arya saluted, eyes sharp. We'll make them see. Back in the present, the mini-fleet had just won their first battle. Alien wreckage drifted across the sky like silent ghosts. Inside her ship, Arya looked at the stars and whispered, "They finally saw us." Her team cheered, exhausted but proud. The impossible had happened. Humanity had stood against the galaxy's strongest empire and won. But Arya knew this was only the beginning. She looked at the battlefield scanners. Hundreds of new enemy ships were approaching. Eli's voice came through the comms. "Captain, they're regrouping." "Let them come," Arya said calmly. "They still don't understand what we are." As the fleet prepared for round 2, the human commander on Eden 7 smiled at the transmission. He whispered to himself, "Project Atom lives." Far away, deep in the Vorn capital, General Korvac slammed his claws into the table. "Find out everything about these humans," he roared. "I want to know what they are, before they destroy us all." The war for humanity had just begun. The stars above Eden 7 were quiet again. But that silence didn't last long. After the destruction of their first fleet, the Vorn Empire was furious. They had never been defeated, not by any race, not by any world. And now, a small group of humans had embarrassed them in front of the entire galaxy. Deep inside the Vorn flagship, General Korvac stared at the battle report. His red eyes glowed with anger. "How," he growled, "can 12 tiny ships destroy an entire war division?" A nervous officer answered, "General, they were too fast. Their weapons were focused, precise. It's almost like they could read our moves before we made them." Korvac slammed his claws on the table. "No one reads the Vorns. Prepare the Titan fleet. I want those humans crushed." On Eden 7, Captain Arya Blake stood inside her ship, the Valkyrie 01, checking her systems. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from what was coming. The scanners showed hundreds of enemy ships moving toward them. Her second-in-command, Eli, appeared on the communication screen. "They're sending everything they've got. Looks like they're done laughing." Arya smiled weakly. "Good. It's easier to fight them when they're angry." The rest of the mini-fleet stood ready, 12 small ships glowing blue, engines humming in rhythm with their pilots' hearts. They didn't look powerful, but together they moved like one mind. Dr. Evelyn Cross, watching from the moon base command room, whispered to herself, "Come on, Arya, show them what humans can do." As the alien fleet entered orbit, Eden 7's night sky turned red. The Vorn's massive warships looked like floating mountains, their lights burning like fire. Compared to them, the human ships were tiny specks of light. Inside his command vessel, General Korvac laughed. "Look at them, insects flying toward fire." He gave the order, "Destroy them!" The first wave of plasma fire lit up space. Huge energy beams cut through the sky, turning debris into dust. But the mini-fleet was already gone, vanishing into streaks of blue light. "Split formation," Arya commanded. Her voice was calm but sharp. "Eli, take the left flank. Mara, follow me through the center." The human ships weaved between alien fire like lightning, too fast to track. Alien sensors failed to lock onto them. Every time a Vorn warship fired, the mini-fleet was already behind it. "Target their power cores," Arya said. Tiny missiles shot forward, striking at the weak points of the giant vessels. One by one, the alien ships exploded in silent bursts of light. General Korvac stared at the hologram map in disbelief. "They're too small. The sensors can't read them." An officer shouted, "We're losing the left formation." Korvac roared, "Activate the ion nets." Suddenly, massive blue grids appeared across the battlefield, energy traps designed to catch fast ships. The mini-fleet dodged wildly, but the nets kept closing in. Arya's voice filled the comms. "Stay focused. Don't let them surround you." But one pilot, Lena the youngest, got caught in the net. Her ship began to shake violently. "Captain, I can't move," she cried. Eli shouted, "Hold on, I'm coming!" He shot forward, dodging plasma fire, and slammed his ship's energy beam directly into the net's control node. The grid shattered, freeing Lena, but the explosion hit Eli's ship. "Eli!" Arya screamed. His screen flickered. Smoke filled his cockpit. "I'm okay. Just a scratch," he said, trying to sound strong. But his systems were failing. His ship was spinning out of control. "Eli, eject!" Arya shouted. He smiled softly through the static. "Not yet. I've got one more shot left." He aimed his half-broken ship at the largest alien battleship and rammed it straight into the reactor. A flash of white light filled the sky. The explosion destroyed the alien vessel, and Eli's signal went silent. The rest of the mini-fleet fell silent. Arya's hands trembled. Her best friend was gone, but there was no time to grieve. "Keep fighting!" she shouted, her voice breaking. Eli didn't die for nothing. Fueled by emotion, the fleet pushed forward, moving faster, striking harder. One by one, the Vorn ships fell apart. Dr. Evelyn watched the live feed, tears in her eyes. "They're not soldiers," she whispered. "They're hope." After hours of battle, only a few Vorn ships remained. They retreated, broken and humiliated. Arya and her team floated among the burning remains of the battlefield. Eli's ship was gone, just fragments of metal drifting through space. Arya closed her eyes and whispered, "You said we'd make them see, Eli." "I think they see us now." Her team stayed quiet. In the distance, the blue planet Eden 7 shined softly beneath them. They had protected it, for now. Back on the Vorn flagship, Korvac stared into the blackness of space. He clenched his claws. "These humans, they are not weak. They are something else, something dangerous." He sent a message to the Emperor. "Authorize Project Titanus. We will not underestimate them again." The Emperor's cold voice echoed through the screen. "Do it, and bring me their leader's head." As Arya looked at the stars, she didn't know what new horror the Vorns were creating. All she knew was that humanity had drawn blood, and that victory came with a price. Her final words before returning to base were quiet, filled with both pride and pain. "We are small, yes, but our courage makes us infinite." The space above Eden 7 was quiet once again. The wreckage of alien ships floated like black scars across the stars. The mini-fleet had won, but victory felt cold. They had lost Eli. Captain Arya Blake sat inside her small ship, the Valkyrie 01, watching pieces of broken metal drift by. Her heart was heavy. She replayed Eli's last words in her mind. "Don't let them forget what humans can do." His voice still echoed in her helmet. Down on Lunar Station 9, Dr. Evelyn Cross watched the live reports. The screen showed silence, no celebration, no cheers, only the quiet faces of the surviving pilots. She whispered to herself, "They've become soldiers, not by choice, but by loss." The scientists around her didn't speak. They all knew the Vorn Empire would return, and when they did, it would be worse. Far away, inside the Vorn capital ship, General Korvac stood before the Emperor. The huge hall was filled with shadows and burning blue fire. The Emperor's golden armor glowed in the dark. His voice was calm but cold. "You failed, General." Korvac knelt low. "I will not fail again, my lord. The humans use strange technology. Their ships are alive. But we will crush them." The Emperor raised his hand, revealing a hologram of giant living creatures, part metal, part flesh, covered in spikes and red energy. "Then unleash the Bio-Titans." Korvac's eyes widened. "My lord, the Titans are unstable." "They do it!" the Emperor interrupted. "I want Eden 7 turned into dust." 2 days later, the humans on Eden 7 received the first readings. Massive energy waves, unidentified life forms. They were moving fast, faster than anything recorded before. Arya stood in the control room, staring at the radar. "What are those things?" she asked. Dr. Evelyn's voice came through the comms. "Not ships, not machines. They're alive. They feed on energy." The room fell silent. "Feed on energy?" one of the pilots repeated. Evelyn nodded grimly. "They can absorb weapon fire. If you shoot them, they grow stronger. When the Bio-Titans arrived, the sky turned red again. They were huge, larger than cities, with glowing veins and wings made of plasma. Each movement shook the stars. The ground forces on Eden 7 could only stare in horror. Arya's team launched into orbit, hearts pounding. For the first time, fear filled the comms. "Captain," said Lena, "how do we fight something that eats bullets?" Arya took a breath. "We'll find a way. We always do." The mini-fleet attacked first. Their small ships darted between the monsters' claws, firing plasma beams. But every shot the Titans absorbed made them stronger. Their roars echoed across space, shaking the human ships. "Captain, it's not working," shouted Mara. "Our weapons just feed them." Arya gritted her teeth. "Then we fight smarter. Aim for the eyes or the energy cores. Find a weakness." They weaved through the storm of fire, searching for patterns. The Titans released blasts of red light that almost tore the fleet apart. One pilot screamed as his ship was hit. A flash of light, then silence. Arya flinched but kept flying. "Stay together. Don't break formation." Down on Luna Station, Evelyn and her team worked desperately, scanning data. "There has to be a way," she muttered. "Think, Evelyn. They absorb energy. What if..." Suddenly she realized something. "Arya!" she called through the comms. "Listen carefully. The Titans absorb energy, but if you overload them from the inside, they'll collapse." Arya understood immediately. "We have to get inside them." Mara's voice cracked. "Inside? Are you insane?" "It's the only way," Arya said. "Form a spear formation. Follow my lead." The fleet dove straight toward the largest Titan. Its body opened like a giant mouth filled with fire. Arya accelerated, the others right behind her. The glow of their ships lit up the darkness as they disappeared inside the creature. Inside was chaos, red light, acid clouds, moving flesh like walls. The pilots fought to stay focused. Arya shouted, "Aim for the core! Overload your reactors when I say." They reached the center, a giant glowing heart of energy pulsing like thunder. Arya's scanners flashed red. This is it. The pilots placed small charges around the core. The ship alarm screamed. "Warning! Reactor overload in 10 seconds. Now," Arya shouted. The fleet shot out from the Titan's body as explosions erupted behind them. A massive flash of white light filled the sky. When it cleared, the creature was gone. Nothing left but glowing dust. The humans cheered, crying and laughing. They had done the impossible again. But Arya didn't smile. They had lost 2 more pilots. She looked at the empty spots on the radar and whispered, "We win, but we keep losing pieces of ourselves." Evelyn's voice came softly through the comms. "You saved us all, Arya. Eli would be proud." Arya closed her eyes. "I hope so." Far away in the Vaughn capital, the Emperor watched the destruction of his Titans. His expression didn't change. He turned to his advisors. "So, they can destroy Titans too. Then we will give them a god to fight." The advisors bowed. "You mean activate the Dread Star?" The Emperor nodded slowly. "Yes, prepare it. Let's see if their courage can survive a sun." As the mini-fleet returned to base, Arya looked at the stars one last time. She didn't know what was coming, only that the real war was about to begin. "For every life we lose," she whispered, "we'll burn brighter. They'll never forget humanity." The space around Eden 7 was calm after the storm. The Bio-Titans were gone, their bodies burned to cosmic dust. For the first time in weeks, the stars looked peaceful, but Captain Arya Blake couldn't rest. Her ship, Valkyrie 01, floated quietly near the debris field. Her eyes stared at the blinking lights on her dashboard, lost in thought. Each blinking light reminded her of a fallen pilot. Of Eli, of Lena, of all the names she would never hear again. "Captain," came Mara's voice through the comms. "We're heading back to base. You okay?" Arya didn't answer right away. She finally said softly, "I'm just thinking. How much more do we have to lose to win?" Mara sighed. "Maybe everything." The channel went quiet again. On Lunar Station 9, Dr. Evelyn Cross was in the laboratory, surrounded by screens showing biological scans of the Bio-Titans. Her team analyzed every detail of their remains. Something strange appeared on the data logs, an energy pattern, Similar to the mini-fleet's own ships. She frowned. That can't be right. She rechecked the readings. The Titan's energy core shared the same DNA signature as the human ships. Her hands trembled. No, that's impossible. She quickly opened the encrypted files of Project Atom, the secret research from 10 years ago. Her heart sank when she saw the truth. The mini-fleet's technology hadn't been discovered by humans. It had been found. The original power core designs, the nanolink system, came from Vaughn ruins, from a crashed alien ship discovered on Mars years ago. Humanity had unknowingly built their strongest weapon using Vaughn DNA. Evelyn whispered to herself, "Dear God." The humans and the Vaughns share the same core technology. Meanwhile, in the Vaughn capital, General Korvac entered the throne room. The Emperor sat in silence, his golden armor dimly glowing. "Speak," he commanded. Korvac bowed. "The Bio-Titans are gone, my lord. The humans destroyed them." The Emperor didn't move. His voice was deep and calm. "And what have we learned?" Korvac swallowed. "Their ships, they're living. The humans have merged with their machines." The Emperor smiled coldly. "Yes, just as we once tried long ago." Korvac's eyes widened. "You mean—" The Emperor stood. His towering form cast a shadow over the entire chamber. "The humans are using our lost creation, the nanolink. It was stolen from us centuries ago." He turned toward a massive hologram of a burning star. "Now they will see its true purpose. Prepare the Dread Star." Korvac hesitated. "The Dread Star? My lord, that weapon drains entire solar systems." "Exactly," the Emperor interrupted. "They used our gift against us. Now we take it back and burn their worlds." Back at Lunar Station, Evelyn called Arya on a secure channel. "Arya, you need to hear this. Your ships, they're not entirely human." Arya frowned. "What do you mean?" "The nanolink system came from alien DNA, from the Vaughns. You're connected to them in ways we never understood." Arya's blood ran cold. "So you're saying we're part of them?" "Not exactly. You're what they wanted to be, perfect hybrids. The Vaughns tried to merge life and metal, but it destroyed them. You succeeded." Arya felt her heartbeat quicken. The truth was too heavy. All this time, she thought they were humanity's last defense, not part of the enemy's past. She whispered, "If they find out, they'll come for us." Evelyn nodded. "They already have. They're building something called the Dread Star. It's not a ship, Arya. It's a star-sized weapon that can erase an entire planet." A red light flashed on Arya's radar. "Captain," Mara called urgently, "something huge is appearing in orbit." They turned their ships and saw it, a massive structure larger than any planet they'd seen. It glowed red and black, rotating slowly, surrounded by storms of fire. The Dread Star. It wasn't just a weapon. It was alive. Its surface pulsed like a beating heart. Lightning flashed across its edges. Arya whispered, "They built a sun that kills." Inside the Dread Star, Vaughn engineers worked frantically, chanting their Emperor's orders. Energy from a nearby star flowed into the weapon's core. When ready, it would fire a beam strong enough to wipe out Eden 7 in one shot. General Korvac stood beside the Emperor. "My lord, if we use this, it will destroy their colony, but it may also destabilize our entire system." The Emperor didn't care. "They took what was ours. Now we take them." He raised his hand. "Charge the Dread Star." On Lunar Station, Evelyn's voice shook over the comms. "Arya, you don't have much time. Once that thing fires, there's no escape." Arya's team looked at her. They were tired, injured, broken, but ready. Mara said quietly, "You already know what we have to do." Arya nodded. "We stop that thing, no matter what it costs." She looked at the faces of her remaining pilots. They all nodded back without hesitation. They weren't just soldiers anymore. They were symbols, proof that courage still lived, even in the smallest of hearts. As the mini-fleet turned toward the Dread Star, Arya whispered softly into her comms, "Eli, if you can hear me, guide us one last time." The engines roared. 12 tiny ships flew toward the burning giant that filled the sky. The Dread Star began to charge, glowing brighter, its beam forming. The countdown to destruction had begun. The dread star hung above Eden 7 like a burning god. Its surface glowed with red energy, pulsing like a living heart. Every second, the light grew brighter, feeding on the power of a nearby sun. It was ready to fire. The people on Eden 7 watched the sky in fear. A red beam began to form at the weapon's center, swirling like a storm. If it fired, everything, the forests, the cities, the oceans, would be gone in one flash. Far above the planet, the mini-fleet flew silently in formation. 12 small ships, battered, cracked, but still burning bright. At the front was Captain Aria Blake, her eyes fixed on the dread star. She could feel its power through her ship's sensors. It was alive and it was angry. She pressed her comms. "Team, this is it. We stop that thing here or humanity ends today." Mara's voice came softly. "We're ready, Captain." "For Eli, for everyone." The others echoed her words. "For Eli, for Earth, for humanity." Aria took a deep breath. "Then let's make them remember who we are." On the Vaughn flagship, General Korvac watched the Dread Star's core reach full charge. His claws tapped the console nervously. "My lord, the weapon is ready," the Vaughn Emperor smiled. "Then begin." "Let the humans burn with their stolen light." Korvac hesitated. Something about this felt wrong, almost tragic. But he obeyed. Charging main beam, a loud hum filled the void of space as the dread star's energy spiraled together, forming a blinding sphere. Its heat made even the nearby planets tremble. Aria's voice cut through the comms. "Form diamond formation. We're going straight for the core." The mini-fleet accelerated. Tiny blue streaks of light shot toward the massive red star. Compared to its size, they were like dust, but dust with purpose. The dread star's defense systems came alive. Hundreds of plasma turrets opened fire, filling the sky with red lasers. Each beam could vaporize a mountain, yet the mini-fleet moved like ghosts, weaving, spinning, vanishing between flashes. Mara's voice came through. "Captain! Shields are failing. Keep going!" Aria shouted. "Focus on the central vent." One by one, the pilots broke through the firestorm. Their ships glowed brighter, engines screaming. Each pilot's heartbeat synced with their ship, faster, louder, stronger. They reached the dread star's outer hull. Its metal surface rippled like molten glass. Aria scanned for an entrance and found a small energy vent near the core. "That's our way in," she said. "Follow my signal." The ships dove into the vent, a narrow tunnel filled with fire and electricity. The walls shook as the dread star charged its main weapon. Static filled the comms. Pilots shouted, systems failed, alarms screamed. "Hold your course," Aria commanded. "We have to reach the heart before it fires." A warning appeared on her screen. Dread star firing sequence. 60 seconds. They reached the central chamber, a massive glowing core suspended by red energy beams. It pulsed like a beating heart, each thump shaking the ships, Aria whispered. "That's it." "That's the core," Mara gasped. "How do we stop it?" Aria closed her eyes. Dr. Evelyn Cross's words echoed in her mind. "To destroy energy that absorbs everything. You must give it something it can't contain." "Overload," Aria said softly. "We have to overload our reactors inside it." The pilots went silent. They all knew what that meant. Mara's voice trembled. "That will kill us all." Aria looked at the glowing core ahead. "If we don't, everyone on Eden 7 dies anyway." There was a long pause. Then one by one, each pilot said the same word. "For humanity." The countdown continued. 30 seconds. Aria smiled sadly. She opened a private channel to Lunar Station 9. "Dr. Evelyn," she said, "if you can hear me, thank you. For believing in us." Evelyn's voice cracked with emotion. "Aria, no. There has to be another way." Aria's tone was calm. "There's always another way, but not this time. Tell Earth." We were never small. 20 seconds, Aria's ship moved closer to the glowing core. The others followed, surrounding it in a circle of blue light. 10 seconds, reactors full power, Aria ordered. Her ship glowed brighter, the cockpit filled with light. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Eli, I'm coming home. 5, 4, 3. The mini-fleet released all their power at once. The core screamed. Light and sound collided in a blinding explosion. From the surface of Eden 7, the sky turned white. A massive wave of light spread across space, swallowing the dread star. And then, silence. The weapon was gone. So were the humans. The Vaughn fleet scattered, leaderless and afraid. Their empire had fallen, defeated not by numbers, but by heart. Days later, on Lunar Station 9, Dr. Evelyn watched the empty sky. A faint signal blinked on her screen, weak but alive. She gasped, "No, it can't be." She opened the channel. A quiet, tired voice spoke through static. "This is Valkyrie 01, mission complete." It was Aria. Her ship floated among the debris, damaged but intact. She looked at the stars and whispered, "We may be small, but we are the reason giants fall." In the ruins of the Vaughn Empire, the old emperor sat alone. He stared at a hologram of the destroyed Dread Star. For the first time he looked afraid. He whispered to himself, "Perhaps the humans were never small." As the screen fades to black, a final message appears. Size never defined humanity. Courage did. The end.